Hello everybody, I'm Dragon Princess and welcome back to my channel, and today I am going to be telling you about the books that I read this year. Yes, this entire year. I'm not going to go month by month because that would be useless and too many videos. This year I set a challenge for myself to read 15 books and I managed to read 28. So, yeah, that's like the most that I've ever read in 1 year in like my entire life. So, bit of an achievement, and I'm quite happy about that. Some books that I put up here, and then I have a big stack that is this tall sitting next to me, and I'm going to show you the books obviously and talk about them. Alright. The first one that I read at the start of the year was Winterwood by Patrick McCabe? Yes. This book, I actually DNF'd it, and I gave it 2 stars. Reason being, it just wasn't my kind of content. It's an adult, I think it would be classified as a thriller. It doesn't actually have like, oh yeah, no, it does have a blurb. Basically it's about this guy who, I think it's about a guy who, whose wife divorced him and took their daughter away, and he's traumatized because of he's got childhood trauma, and he's got this like, I only got halfway through the book and I got to the really bad bit. He's got this like sort of voice in his head of this past criminal, and so this criminal who in the area like killed kids is like in his head, and so persuades him to do similar things to he did to his daughter, and it's just disgusting. And so I got up to the like sort of the plot, like the main plot, sort of big shock horror plot point, and I just couldn't read any further. I had to put it down. It was good writing, but it just, I couldn't read it. The next book that I actually read is The Electric Hotel. I finished this one and I gave it a 3-star, purely because the writing style was very old. I don't remember, I'm pretty sure it's an old book. First published in June of 2019. Okay, so it's not. But I don't know, it was okay. You basically went along and heard all the stories about this hotel and the filmmaking industry, and it was alright. It just wasn't, again, it wasn't sort of my kind of content that I read, my kind of book that I read. So it was a bit of a struggle to get through. I listened to the audiobook. Another audiobook. I read a lot of audiobooks this year, mainly in the months I read a lot in February, I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, February, when I moved out. I had like a lot of time on my hands, so I just started listening to audiobooks wherever I went. So that was like, I got through a lot of books that way, and then I came home and didn't really read until September, and then September was my, it was September. The whole month, I've got 2 vlogs up on that, you can go check them out. But September I just decided that was my reading month. And so I read a bunch. But the next book that I listened to was The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This was a fantasy. I'm pretty sure it's young adult, but I gave it a 4 out of 5 star. I really liked it. The main character seems very, she's definitely got that sort of typical headstrong female sort of character that feels that she has to like show everyone that she can do things and that she's not weak, and sort of has a trouble with like miscommunication of what people say to her and what she thinks they say to her, that sort of thing. That's what I just feel like it was anyway, but I still enjoyed it. So yeah, Cruel Prince. The next one that I read was The Wolf Wilder by Catherine Rundell. This is a children's book. It's a fairly short book. It's got lots of nice pictures all drawn in it. And yeah, this was like a quick read and I really liked it. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 star. This is about a girl in Russia. This girl and her mother, they are wolf wilders. So Russia, basically in this story, Russia takes wolves as pets for like the high class, and so when they are given away because they have done something such as like growled or bitten someone or torn up the furniture, you know, wolf things because they're animals, they give them, her and her mother rescue them and teach them how to live in the wild so that they can be free. And they kind of take over, they get into a bunch of trouble with the Tsar, and so they kind of take down the democracy with their wolves and show them that they don't need to be kept as pets and all that sort of stuff. So that one was a really good read. Alright, the next one that I read was another audiobook, and it was Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I finally got around to this one. Oh, there are so many books that I am like now just getting around to, that, you know, everyone was talking about years ago that I've seen on BookTube, and I'm finally just getting around to them. So Cinder, I loved this series. I read the whole series, absolutely loved every single book. I rated Cinder 5 out of 5, and so it was such a nice new twist on the different stories, and I loved the integration of the world and the sort of scenario, and I love it when sort of retellings of fairy tales take it into a different direction and they don't just stay on this one track of we have to follow what the fairy tale says. It like kind of leads it into a different direction. It's like, you know, here's the starting story, but there's all these like other things that lead it off into a different direction, and so it feels like almost its own story, and that's what I love about retellings. So Cinder was chef's kiss, masterful, loved it. Yes. Next one I read was The Wicked King by Holly Black. This is the second in the series of, I've forgotten what it's called, the Cruel Prince trilogy, I think it is. Folk of the Air trilogy. There you go. And I rated that 5 star. I really liked this book. I think I was just getting into the swing of it, and it was really nice. The other one though, the next one that I read The Queen of Nothing directly after that. I didn't like it as much. I gave this one a 3 out of 5. So, second one was my favourite, which it's not really that common to sort of like the second one, but I did. I really liked the second one and sort of a bit meh on the last one. So I do recommend that series. It's a series that, you know, I was very happy to be finally reading and to be catching up on. I still have a lot of that to do, but I'm getting there. Alright, the next book that I read was Scarlet, and I gave this 4 out of 5. Scarlet is the second book in the Lunar Chronicles. Lunar Chronicles? Yes. So Cinder is obviously a retelling of Cinderella. Scarlet is a retelling of Red Riding Hood. Cress, which is the third one, is a retelling of Rapunzel. And Winter, which is the fourth one, is a retelling of Snow White. I honestly don't know why I gave Scarlet a 4 out of 5. I gave Cress and Winter 5 out of 5. I think Scarlet was, I feel like it was kind of lacking something. It was a lot of Scarlet, and I kind of wish there was a bit more of Cress in the second one. Because if you don't know, basically all the 4 characters, their names are Cinder, Scarlet, Cress and Winter, and as each book comes out, they like join up onto one team, and so Cinder is obviously all of Cinder. Scarlet is a lot of Scarlet's story, but then you get to see Cinder's sort of story, like follow it along, so it's like all of these stories going along, but the books add them. So I think it's only because it was the second one that I wish there was a little bit more Cinder in it, but that's the only like thing that I had. The other 2 last ones were 5 out of 5, absolutely loved them, loved that series, and it had such a good like twist, it had such a good ending, and it had nothing fell like too flat. Nothing fell flat, and it was like a really nice just story to like sit back and listen to and just do my work through. So yeah, there you go. The next one was In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. So this one was an interesting story. I rated it a 3 out of 5. Again, wasn't my kind of story, but I feel like I really pushed myself with that this year. I read a lot of books outside of my comfort zone, discovered what I did like and what I didn't like more of. And In Cold Blood was actually, I read it to help someone in school do it for their English class. So that's basically that. So after In Cold Blood, I read this one. This is Mirrors, Stories of Almost Everyone. Stories of Almost Everyone by Eduardo Galeano. So this is a bunch of short stories that are almost like poems. Some are a page long, some are just like a few sentences long. It's really cool. And these are from stories from all over the world describing history and people in ways that you don't really hear about in your history classes. So if you are into history, I would give this a definite recommend. I gave this a 3 out of 5. It was getting a little struggling towards the end. There is a lot here, and this took me a while to read, but I definitely did enjoy it. It also goes through different perspectives of different sort of problems in the world and that the world faced, and there's a lot of just everything in here, all to do with history. It's amazing. So if you love history and all that stuff, I would give this a definite recommended read. It's wonderful. Alright, the next book I read was Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book of the Dark Artificers. I haven't read that many Cassandra Clare books. I've had this one for years. When did it come out? I remember buying it on the train. This one came out in 2016. So I've had it since then. And I was in the city at the train station, and I just picked up this book. And I read the prologue and maybe chapter 1, and that's it, and I never picked it up because it was such a daunting thing for such a long time, and I had no idea. Like, everyone's been raging about Cassandra Clare forever, so I don't know, but I decided to start off with this one, and I loved it. So I gave this one a 4 out of 5. I'm not entirely sure, like, this is the first book that I've read by Cassandra Clare that's in the Shadowhunter world. I know nothing. I know nothing else than this. I did read the City of Bones, and you'll hear my thoughts of that in a moment. But I absolutely adored this. I had this book, and I actually listened to it on audio, and I just like had it open next to me. I find that's always like a good way to read if you kind of feel guilty about these big books. Just listen to them and read along with them. It's always nice. So yeah, so absolutely loved it. We'll definitely be getting on to the second and third one, and hopefully some of the other series. But there you go. Okay, the next book that I read, I'm pretty sure, yes, was The Giant Under the Snow by John Gordon. This is, I'm pretty sure this is another children's book, and it was written in the 1960s? Yes, so this was written in the 1960s. So it's a very interesting story. I do talk about these we're getting into September reads now, so most of these are from September. So if you do want to hear my thoughts about it a little bit more in depth and as I go along, again, it will be in the top corner. You can go watch that and sort of hear more about this book and what it is about. But I don't know whether it was because it was a kid's book or whether it was because it was written in the 1960s, but I gave it 2 stars. I was enjoying it at first, but quickly became very irritated by it and just wanted it to be over. I just got annoyed at it and annoyed at the characters and stuff. And it's never good when you're writing a book. You never want the readers to be annoyed at the characters, but alas, I did finish it, so it's another one ticked off. But yeah, so that's the thing. Next book that I picked up was Username Regenerated. This is by Joe Sugg. It is a graphic novel. This is the first ever graphic novel I have read, and I will be honest, I don't think they're for me. It was a very short read. I read it in one night, in one sitting, and it just didn't hit it for me. I haven't read the first one, and from this I feel like I don't need to. I don't know if there's another one out. I think they made a third one, but I'm going to have to check. But basically, yeah, I just don't think graphic novels are my thing. I got through this one. I've been holding on to this for a long time purely because it was by Joe Sugg, and I watched Joe Sugg's videos at the time. Now I don't. Anyway, that's probably the only reason why I picked it up. But anyway, yeah, there you go. I think I rated it, I rated this a 3 out of 5. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad, but it definitely wasn't my sort of thing. So yeah, I don't think I'll be picking up graphic novels in the future. There you go. Okay, the next book that I read was Death in the Ladies' Clothes Club by Julian Leatherdale. She is an Australian author. This is set in Australia in the 1920s, and it is a murder mystery or crime? It's a crime thriller, I think it is. But anyway, I listened to this on audio. and I had tried to listen to it before. I'd gotten halfway through it at the start of the year, but in September I decided to pick it up again and listen to the rest of it, and it actually wasn't that bad. I like pleasantly enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I'm not too big into the Australian literature. I've read Abanabold and Sydney Cove and the sort of a few of the other Australian stories. Kind of not my favourite. I did really like Abanabold at the time we were learning about all of that sort of stuff, so I did read it and I really liked it. So that was years ago, so I haven't really read any Australian literature, and I pleasantly enjoyed it. And basically, I don't know whether I'm going to read more crime mystery thrillers. I might, because it's quite interesting. Alright, the next one that I read was The Slaves of the Mastery by William Nicholson. This is actually, I listened to this on audio, and this is actually the second book in a series. I actually have Firesong. This is the third book in the series, and I found the second one along with this as an audiobook, so I decided to just go ahead and listen to the second one and then the third one. I really enjoyed it. I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything with not reading the first one, so I don't mind that now, because I was a big stickler for reading like the things in order, and I had to read, if I was going to read a series, I had to read all of them from start to beginning. Now, not so much. But yes, I gave Slaves of the Mastery 4 out of 5 stars, and it was such a different world to be in and to sort of experience, and it was really nice. The characters were so different and I just loved it. And so right after I read Slaves of the Mastery, I read Firesong, and I gave this one a 5 out of 5, and it was a wonderful continuation of the second book, and it was a wonderful wrap up. Kind of made me a little bit curious to see what happened in the first one, but I don't really want to ruin my knowledge of this sort of thing. But anyway, I did really enjoy it. If you do want to hear more about this and my thoughts on it, it's all in the September vlogs. Don't worry, it's still there. I will tell you when we finish that. But yes, this was a 5 out of 5. Definitely loved it. I picked this one up at an op shop. This was definitely an older one, isn't it? 2002, so this was published when I was born. Okay, so the next one. I read City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, the Mortal Instruments book 1. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. And then I finished this, and then a few days later my mum requested for me to watch the movie, and that was worse. So yeah, kind of majorly turned off by this. I don't know if I'm going to read the rest of them for the sake of it. I'm more interested in reading her newer books, like the continuations of Dark Artifices, the second and third book following Lady Midnight, as well as her newer one, which I believe includes Chain of Gold. I think that's the newest one, I'm not sure. But yeah, I tried to start from the beginning and it just, no, did not like this one. When people say that, why I don't like this, it's got a, surely this isn't spoilers by now. I didn't like it because it had a Luke and Leia moment, and it was just, no, I didn't need that, you know. we don't need that in literature. It's just weird to me. It's bad, and it's just like, you spend, and I find it's worse in this, because they're the main character, you spend so much time on it. No. Freaking awful. So, I don't know whether I'm going to continue with this because of the sake of it, but I will let you know what I do. But yeah, this was like a, what did I rate this? I rated this a 2 out of 5. Should have given it a 1. This is a 2 out of 5. So yeah, that's that. Okay, the next one was definitely a better book. This is The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. Yep. I am shocked that I didn't get round to this much earlier. My god, this is wonderful. I freaking love this series. This is like gonna be in my top favorite books and my top favorite series, because this was just amazing. I absolutely love the medieval world in it. So I gave this one a 5 out of 5. She does a wonderful job. I listened to this on audio, as well as all the other ones and all the ones to come. So I listened to this on audio, and it was just amazing, and I love the characters and I love the stories. Everything is so well written. This is definitely on my recommend. If you love fantasy, this is gorgeous. This whole series is so good. So there you go. Okay, the next one that I finally got around to reading was The Red Queen. I got this from a friend on my 15th birthday, and it was published when? 2015. Checks out. Yeah, I got this on like my 15th birthday or something. I finally have read it. I have a lot of this series. I have the 3rd one, and I have the short stories, and I also have the 4th one and the big collection. What are they called? Warstorm and Broken Thorn. And I have, oh no, I don't have the 3rd one. I had the Cruel Crown, which is the short collection story. So this is the only one. I don't have the 2nd or 3rd in physical copy. But there you go. I gave this a 3 out of 5. It was alright. I listened to this on audio. And, okay, I'm going to say this in here, but if you want to hear more, go to my September vlog. I had a problem with this. At the back, it's got a quote by Starburst, and it says, "Red Queen is a clever blend of the Hunger Games, The Selection, Graceling, and Divergent." I have only heard of /read /seen 3 out of those 4 things. It's the problem I had with it. It's almost too much of a perfect blend. It's just, I read that and it was like, yep, everything checks out. It's just nothing original. Nothing original from those books. That separates it from those books. It literally is those books mushed into one. I've only read the 1st book. I haven't read the 2nd and 3rd. I'm gonna get around to it once I get over my grudge, but that's the only thing that I didn't like, was I read that quote and just thought, yep, nothing else. So that's it. So that's the only problem I had with it, but other than that, I did still enjoy it. But yeah, there you go. Alright, the next book that I read, ta-da! The Invasion of the Tearling. This is the 2nd book of the Tearling trilogy, and I rated it 3 out of 5. This one, it was just kind of slow. There was a lot of setup, but I still really enjoyed it. Still loved the characters and all of that. It was just still amazing. This one was just more of a setup one to explode in the end. It was just gorgeous. Okay. So yeah, so still that series, those books are a 100% recommend read. Next book I read was Everless by Sarah Holland. Anyway, this was very confusing to me. I enjoyed it. I rated it 4 out of 5, but it was most of the book I was very confused about. So on the back of my copy, it says, blood is money, time is power, desire is treachery. Welcome to Everless. So it's got this system of, so it's fantasy, like most of my books that I read. And it's got this system where magic has come into melting time into gold, and that's their currency. And like, so the rich people are like hundreds of years old because they have a lot of money and they can consume that money because that money is also time. It just confused me. Like halfway through, it just confused the ever-living thing out of me. It was still really enjoyable though. Had such a good story. Can't remember if this is a series. No, there's a second book. Honestly, this could have been a standalone. This had such a good wrap up. I absolutely loved it. There are like still things that sort of untied, but I might have to go find the second one. But anyway, this was such a good, despite having a quite confusing thing for me, I really enjoyed this book and loved it. So there you go. Hey, what was the next book that I read? Oh, so I for some reason have bought and have tried to get into historical romance stories. And so the first one that I decided to pick up was The Distant Hours by Kate Morton. I saw this in an op shop ages ago and decided to read it because it was a on the great reads for the Australian Women's Weekly. That's why I picked it up, because I saw that sticker. Meh. It's just like, apparently this is one of her worser ones. Apparently this is one of her worser books. I have, what do I have? I either have Shifting Fog or Forgotten Gardens. I can't remember, but I have a lot of them on audiobook. So maybe I will try another one again, but this one I gave this 1 star. Didn't like it at all. Oh, it was just like boring and nothing was happening and nothing. It was like, so you know how books are supposed to like give you trickles of information and stuff? This was a slow ass drip. You pick one thing up and then it would be like, oh okay, let's see what this goes, and then it solves it and it's like, okay, and then it gives you another little thing and you're like, oh okay, well, we'll try again, and then it just doesn't. It's nope. It's a nope. So this was a drop by drop piece of information sort of book. Did not like it. And this is thick. I was listening to the, I'll show you where I got up to. You can see where I got up to. So I DNF'd to this. I got up to there listening to the listening to the audiobook. It was so boring. I got up to page 88. It was so boring, and I just seeing this, I couldn't go through with it. So DNF'd it. Gave it 1 out of 5 star. Not my type. I will possibly try the other Kate Morton books that I have, but we will see. We will see. Okay, the next one that I read was thankfully a good one. I read The House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. I listened to this on audio. That's why I don't have a physical copy. That's why you're seeing this. It was really, really good. It was very that sort of typical, we still have that sort of typical trope where it's like headstrong girl and sassy to the love interest. It's quite nice because it's like an enemies to lover. And the emo sort of brute of a guy, I don't know. It was nice. It was really nice. I liked it. I did give it 5 out of 5. So yeah, I put it on and I did not stop it. I listened to that whole thing technically in one sitting. I think I listened to it in a day or something. I put it in the morning and I was finished like at 1 AM or something. I can't remember, but yeah, I was just sucking it up. It was great, loved it. The next audiobook that I read was The Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I think that's how you say her name. Loved this. This was so cool. I did give it 3 out of 5 because there were some points of it where I kind of struggled through it. It wasn't, like, there were just some points where I found it really slow. It was mainly at the beginning. It was just a little bit slow, and so I kind of struggled through it. But then it picked up the pace really well, and it was just amazing. Can't wait to read the second book, or listen to it really. I listened to all of these. I loved listening about the magic that's sort of more involved in like the culture sort of thing. It was so cool. I loved it. That was actually an October read, so we're out of September. I'm pretty sure House of Earth and Blood I finished on the first, on the night, like 1 AM on October 1st. So yeah, that is my whole September vlog, so you can go watch that. But I do talk a little bit about Children of Blood and Bone in my October vlog, but it's not really there. So the next book that we're getting to the end of the year. The next book that I read in October was The Fate of the Tearling. And this was the last installment for the Tearling trilogy. And it was amazing. It had such a amazing build up and huge plot twist that was so unexpected, and it was one of the books that was one of the rare books that was just like mind-blowing to me. So there you go. So I gave it 5 out of 5, and it was just so cool. So I was actually like, when I finished it, I was painting my room. I don't want to talk about it too much because it's so spoilery, and you just get so many cool things with it. You have to go into this blind and you have to read it. But basically I was painting my room, I was getting to the ending, I was literally going, what? No way! Wow, oh my god! And my family were like freaking out, going, what is it? And I'm like, this book's amazing! And I was just like, oh, okay. So anyway, read that whole trilogy, so good. 10 out of 10, absolutely amazing. One of the books that I wish that I could read with like first eyes again, or first ears. So good. So yeah. And the last one that I read, that I only just recently finished, because I didn't read for the rest of October or November, and I only just picked it up mid-December when I was away for a week with my boyfriend's family, and I brought this. This is The Crowns Game by Evelyn and Skye. This was so cool. This was really nice. So I had started this in November, or October, and I just like read a few pages and then didn't really touch it, and I was just feeling like a lack of motivation. I didn't really want to read, but then we were on the houseboat, and so I had plenty of time, so I made myself read this, and it was worth it. It was so good. So this is very similar to the Night Circus, where it is set in one place. This is set in Russia, in St. Petersburg, and it's about two magicians battling for life. Yes, battling for life to get the ultimate win sort of thing, the ultimate prize. So very much like the Night Circus, and it was very well done. I loved this. Again, one of those ones where I wish I'd gotten round to it sooner, but I'm very glad that I have read it now, and read it recently. This was so cool. So yeah, I finished this in a week, or rather less than a week, but yeah. So I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars again, and it was just wonderful. This is also another recommended. I had thought that this one was a standalone, but apparently not. There is a second book to this, so I will try and find that and see if I can read that. So there you go. So that one is another definite recommend. So that is all of the books that I have finished. Alright, and that was it. That was all of the books that I am reading this year, that I have read this year, and you saw my 2 current reads. I am very excited, and I'm looking forward to next year, where hopefully I will be reading more. I really want to push myself in the coming years to try and read all of this. There are so many books that I have to get through, and I just want to start reading them all, because otherwise I don't want to miss out. There's so many books coming out, and I just want to read them. So thank you all so much for watching. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and let me know if you want anything, another video that's similar to this, because I will happily do it. So, thank you all so much for watching, and remember, I'm the Dragon Princess, and I will see you all later. Bye!